Welcome to the Birth Launch Podcast, an empowering space for expecting and new parents to hear candid conversations with experts and learn how to craft your ideal birth. Back to another episode of the Birth Launch Podcast. Today, we are diving into home birth versus hospital birth. I am joined by my friend Anne Margolis, who is a certified nurse midwife and has been practicing for more than 25 years. So we've got some experience here. Anne, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
I'm so excited to dive into home birth versus hospital birth with you. Now, you have been attending home births for tons and tons of years under Home Sweet Home Birth, right? Isn't that your
7
midwifery
years.
practice?
That's the name of the well, it started off as something else. Yeah, it's been Home Sweet Home, but for a while. But yeah, 27 years and keep going.
So, digging from all of that wisdom and experience, let's talk about the very, very, very basics. Give us some reasons, some benefits that people might want to have their baby at home over the hospital. For someone who's never considered this, what are the benefits?
So the US, as you know, ranks the bottom, the worst among developed countries in the world. We have the highest maternal death rates relating to childbirth, horrid newborn outcomes, high rates of trauma, birth trauma, like 45%. Our C-section rate is well over 30%. They come with this knowledge of being aware of that and wanting to avoid it and wanting to have a healthier outcome. They're aware that the countries in the world, they've done the research, that have the best outcomes are countries where midwifery is really the model of care for the low risk healthy population, leaving the obstetricians, thankfully, to care for the high risk. Another reason is that they really feel that at home they can birth their way. They can have a spiritual experience, a beautiful experience. There's no separation. They can decline the newborn procedures. I'm not going to call CPS on.
In my opinion, a home birth is more of an ecosystem. Everyone is working together. Everyone has a role, but it's not a distinct role. It's a flexible role. It is a role that can overlap with others as well. It is a say. People have been having their babies for decades and decades and generations at home. There will undoubtedly be that one person that goes, yeah, but so many people died. Yes, a lot of people died, right? But when we think about where we have come with medicine, the reasons that people died, we have the solutions to those.
I've
We
never had a woman die in my care. Never. This may offend some people, but I do not support free birth. I'm sorry. I've been at enough births where, meaning I support free birth with me in the background, just there, just in case, you have your free birth. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, that's the best intervention at a birth is no intervention, right? But my eyes and my ears, my heart, everything's open. I can talk. But I have been at enough births where that if I was not there with my skills of dealing with an emergency like shoulder dystocia or a postpartum hemorrhage or a baby that's just born not breathing and not responding, we would have had a damaged or dead mom or baby. So I do support choice, and I understand where it comes from, that people want to have a free birth, but the baby has no voice in that discussion. So I am very thankful for what, the emergency skills and remedies that I carry. But the vast, vast majority do just fine.
So talk to us about those emergencies. What would an emergency look like at home birth, and how is a typical emergency handled? Because I know a lot of people are like, well, what if an emergency happens? You're with a trained medical professional. That's why you have a midwife there.
Birth is groovy until it's not. And then sometimes meconium happens. And so I'd say the most common emergency we have with a mom would be, I'm saying at a birth, would be a postpartum hemorrhage. Now, I'm not liking how much blood that's coming out, and nothing's working. I have Pitocin, I have Methergin, I have Cytotec, I can start an IV. I have never lost a mama to a postpartum hemorrhage, and not once. There was, retained placenta with a postpartum hemorrhage. I mean, I've had to go in and do a manual removal, but that we do what we have to do. So mom would be postpartum hemorrhage. Baby, we've had some shoulder dystocias. We were filmed for a few documentaries. One was TLC Baby Story, and of course, mom's in the tub, and there's all the signs. There's no, the shoulders are stuck. I said, okay, let's just get out of the tub, and I had to do some things, and then we had a little resuscitation of the baby, which is common. And would you believe the TV people said that was the best birth they've ever seen? And, my heart was going, that we had an emergency there. So it's interesting, it was just dealt with.
And what kind of credentials do certified nurse midwives, and there are multiple different credentials that midwives can have, but CNMs in particular, what kind of training do you have on newborn resuscitation? I assume that you must be certified in it and keep
every
up
2
with
years. We have to get recertified every 2 years in both adult CPR, and thank God I've never had to give adult CPR to a mom. But neonatal resuscitation, we have to get recertified every 2 years, and also adult CPR.
Okay, so I would love to talk about what are some things that we should be aware of when it comes to home birth. So what do we do if we have a precipitous labor? What do we do if we need an induction? Is there a way that we can do inductions at home?
For precipitous birth, I just on Christmas, we had a Christmas Day. We had I get a lot of people precipitous births. I mean, she said from start to finish, her last baby was 45 minutes. So I said, I want you to call me as soon as you feel anything. We're not playing around, because she was a good 45-minute drive from me. In terms of induction, I really prefer that labor starts on its own, but I have natural remedies. They're all in my book. About what can work.
Can we talk a little bit about, most transfers are not emergencies from home birth?
Absolutely not.
Is that correct?
Non-emergent. So if I don't like to wait till the meconium hits the fan. The most common emergency is a stuck labor. Mom has been in labor on and off for many days, and she is just completely exhausted and not making any progress, and we've tried everything. That's not an emergency. A stuck labor with an exhausted mom, we make a mutual decision to go in. And sometimes they just need an epidural and some Pitocin, and after we've done everything, and they can still have a vaginal birth, and sometimes they need a cesarean. My cesarean rate is 5%.
I think a lot of times when we transfer for stalled labors or labors that are stuck, it's because you need pain relief in order to relax your body, in order for it to continue to progress, or you need rest in order to have your body relax enough for you to continue to progress. Both home and hospital are a safe place to have your baby. They're going to have different safety, right? And so you as the birther need to think about what defines safe to you. When I walk into a hospital and I know my rate based off of just walking through those doors is 45+% of trauma and 30% C-section rate, that doesn't feel safe to me. That's not a place that I am going to equate to being safe. That I know is the same story for so many people in home birth. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to make sure that if you're thinking about having a home birth, or you've been teetering with the idea, or you're dealing with people in your life who don't believe in home birth, or they challenge the safety of it, I hope that today's episode was helpful for you. I hope that you were able to see the benefits of home birth, the safety of home birth, and learn a little bit about the credentials and the requirements of the people who are attending home birth. All right, before I let you go, Anne, can you please tell us about your book? You've written a book, and I think people need to get their hands on it. How can they connect with you and find your book and start to learn from you?
Natural Birth Secrets, it's out in second edition, and it's really the whole, it's a I don't want to say, I don't know, Bible, but it's a guidebook from the entire journey of planning a pregnancy through postpartum. But it is available on ebook on my website, homesweethomebirth.com, or you can get it like on Amazon. It's kind of all over the internet.
Okay, and then the last thing is you help people make birth plans for their home birth. So if people were looking on
All birth.
how to plan out their home birth and things that they needed to know and consider, where can they work with you on that?
It's homesweethomebirth.com/gift, and it's a mini video download course where just helps you create your birth plan, and then even get into, thinking of all, what gives you pleasure, how do you want to be touched, how do you, what do you want to eat and drink, what do you want to smell, what do you want to see, what do you want to hear, music playlist, create your dream experience wherever you are. And you could find me on Instagram at Home Sweet Home Birth as well.
All right, guys, tons of resources for you to start planning your home birth, tons of resources for you to get the science and the data about home birth, to learn about the safety and, again, the credentials of the people who might attend your labor. We will see you next time on the Birth Lounge podcast. Until then, give us a follow over on Instagram. We're at Tranquility by Hehe, or check us out on YouTube. Bye. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time on the Birth Lounge podcast. Until then, head over to Instagram and find us at Tranquility by Hehe and give us a follow. You can also check us out at thebirthlounge.com.